Let me bring in Texas State House Representative Van Taylor, and I only know one other Van. But you're working on pro-energy legislation.
Yeah.
Is there coal in Texas?
There's a lot of coal in Texas.
Really, a lot of coal in
Yeah,
Texas.
40% of the electricity generated in Texas in ERCOT is actually coal-generated electricity.
And is this will happen everywhere, Bob? This will happen in Texas?
Yes, it will. It's a national issue, sir.
Well, the EPA put out another rule, the CSPAR rule, which actually shut down our 3 different coal mines that we have here in Texas. 1,200 megawatts of generation capacity has been shut down, and right now the state of Texas is suing with 14 other states the EPA for what they've done with this rule. And in fact, what the EPA did, they made tremendously incredible assumptions, and they're, in theory, were trying to clean up the air in Illinois. So they were going to ask Texas to reduce our CO2 production by a tremendous amount. And literally 31 of the 32 members of Congress from Texas called this rulemaking unlawful in a letter to the administrator for the EPA. And so that means of the 12 Democratic congressmen, 11 were offended by what the EPA had done and called them out in writing.
Can you show, who has the chart? Tom, I think you have the chart that shows how many coal mines, or I mean, how many coal energy plants are going to be power generation. I think it might be behind that one. Yeah, it's behind. I think it's this one, actually. Tom, can you explain this one? Do you have? Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah,
do you know this one?
Yeah, that's from the National Mining Association, and because of basically 2 rules, the cross-state air pollution rule.
Hold on, it's like the everlasting gobstopper. I don't know what that is.
That's a pool stick.
Oh, that's a leaf, like it's an apple.
That's a pool stick. 2 rules, the Utility MAC rule and the cross-state air pollution rule, according to the National Mining Association, is going to close down, I think, 59 coal-fired power plants, 11 of them in the state of Ohio. So you're talking about, really, they're extinguishing the coal industry. And what happens when you take this amount of power offline? State regulators are worried about power shortages. They're worried about brownouts and blackouts. You see, President Obama is fundamentally transforming America, and I believe his goal is to lower our standard of living so the rest of the world can catch up to us. Why else would you create a war on fossil fuels? Why would you, on one hand, talk about fairness and then close down this much power? And remember, each time you close a plant, there's jobs being lost, there's communities being devastated, and power coming off the grid.
Bob, let's take this 2 ways. You're the power generator, you're the fuel source. So how many jobs are going to be lost in
2.15 million jobs by 2020, according to the most recent independent studies. 2.15 million American jobs, and that's conservative.
Now, that's just in the pulling it out of the ground?
That's in the entire effect of what he's doing on the coal industry. At a cost of $200 billion with no environmental benefit at all. $200 billion to the taxpayer. Glenn, there are 25 million people in this country, 65 and older. And their average income is $31,408 a year. They're already spending 21% of their disposable income for energy. He is going to destroy the quality of life and the standard of living for everyone on fixed income in this country. It's absolutely a disgrace. People don't realize what he's done because, remember, the coal-fired electricity was the 4-cent electricity, not the 22-cent electricity that he's advocating in wind and solar.
Well, we don't have wind and solar to replace it with.
We do not.
When they start saying you can't pull it out of the ground, how fast will America feel this impact?
We're going to feel it immediately. And some of the research that Bob's citing, there's research that our organization did. Bob's company's a charter or member there. And so, Glenn, your point was is it just about coal mining jobs or just about utility jobs? And it's not. It's much broader than that. So it's 2.1 million gross jobs. Then you have there's some positive benefits that would happen for some elements of the renewable world or whatever else. So the net of all this is about $180,000 per 180,000 jobs per year over the next 8 or 10 years as we're trying to claw our way out of the recession. But even bigger than that is the price impacts that Bob, he gave you the average number. When you move down the economic food chain in this country into people who make $10,000 to $30,000 a year, it's more than 21% of their after-tax income.
It's 78% for people making $10,000 a year or less.
And that's 1 out of 10 families.
78%.
For all energy.
So anybody who is needing welfare and food stamps, they need even more help.
They do.
Because they'll never be able to keep their lights on.
The next thing you can expect out of Obama, Glenn, is that he'll be advocating legislation to pay people's electric bills in this country. That's the next natural step in the process.
Here's what, I mean, we just had a discussion about this morning, because this studio is 16,000 square feet. And everybody feel the temperature in here? You all glad you're wearing coats? Yes. John, you're in this industry. It's chilly in here, isn't it? Yeah. We've been in the studio for I think about 2 weeks now, and the staff came to me this morning and said, you know how much it's costing us to keep the studio at this temperature? And I said, I don't want to know. And because it's not 110 degrees outside yet. So I use this as an example because we create jobs. Yes. So you got the bottom of the ladder, and then you have the job creators, the people who are running businesses. And I mean, I use an awful lot of energy every day as it is. We have back there someplace, we have a light. It's a $9,000 light. I don't even know how much these things are, a couple $1,000s each. But this one's a $9,000 light that I can't afford to buy. I wish I did, but I can't afford to buy it yet. But it's all LED, so it saves in electricity. It saves all kinds of money. The Obama administration wants me to buy the LED light, but I can't afford to buy the LED light. But I won't be able to keep these lights on, which means I won't be able to pay people. To hire people, because I won't be able to stay in business with higher energy costs.
And while he's eliminating American jobs by increasing the cost of electricity to where our products will not compete in the global marketplace, China is building a new 500 megawatt coal-fired power plant every week. Okay, so now, I thought this thing was global warming.
Right. Well, anybody hear about China this week? Anybody know what China did this week? Remember in Al Gore's movie Inconvenient Truth, and he's like, and he said it kind of like this because the jets were still on. He was like, and while I'm here on my big private jet, China is the leader in the green industry. They just came out this week.
The number 2, right.
And they said, it's nonsense. These are people building ghost cities. They think that is economically feasible, but they think the green energy thing is ridiculous. So we're the only ones. Now, are we selling an awful lot of energy to China?
No, we're not yet.
Not yet.
Because they're stopping, through Obama's administration, terminals in the United States to export our coal. So the coal that China is burning is coming from Indonesia, Australia, South Africa, not the United States, as it should.
Whoever owns this country, once we put ourselves out of business, whoever comes in and just takes it, they're going to be the most prosperous people.
A lot of natural resources.
Oh yeah, because they'll just take
gold mine.
They'll strip them and then never put the mountains back.
Yeah. And that's the key to this is, where do we need to go in terms of a policy? And our position on this is that number one is we need affordable, reliable energy. It's the lifeblood of the economy. It's the lifeblood of a quality of life for people in any country. And so here in the United States, our policy should be the lowest possible energy that the marketplace will produce, not trying to get people to change their fuel choices by causing prices to increase. That's number one. But number two, the point that you're hitting on, we are blessed with a whole range of fuels, and we're in the coal side of things. But we need nuclear, we need natural gas, we need renewables, we need energy, we need them all. So the policy of this country, the president has the right rhetoric, all in. The problem is that the way the EPA and other agencies are working is to eliminate coal. And so when the president goes through his litany of fuels, he says it's an all-in policy. We need solar, we need wind, we need natural gas, and then he moves on. He won't even talk about coal anymore or nuclear, and that's almost 70% of the electricity.
When he says all of the above, I figured it out. What he means is all energy produced above the ground. Wind and solar. Oil, gas, coal, we're dead. We're gone. Eliminate them. And eliminate the jobs that go with it, which is, this is a very human issue to me, because I know the names of the...
All right, back in just a second.